Hello, everyone. I got a little question for you. Anybody have the challenge of getting into a rut with their test design and struggle to find the next new and different test when you need to do something? Anybody? Just get into a set of habits, you got your usual suspects. Well, I think about this along with my desire to bring dangerous toys into the test lab. So I think about DARTS. And DARTS is just one of those portable games, but it's also dangerous. So here's how I apply DARTS. The first thing I want to think about is data. Data is very core to a lot of system functionality, transactions, scenarios, things like that. A lot of systems are just data heavy. But not just data, values, and parameters, but think about events, data that supports transactions, think about files, think about records, think about all the aspects of data. So that's one category that I like to draw a test from. And if I put that on the dartboard, I give it the outside ring because I think it ties to a lot of other things. So I'll start with the biggest space for data. Then areas. I think of areas as things like GUIs, middle tiers, backends. I think of areas like functional areas, like customer management versus inventory management. And so if I start to piece this together, I've got my data, I've got my areas. Now I can start to think about potentially blending some tests. Rules, business logics, things that trigger behavior in systems. Rules is another slice of the puzzle. Sometimes we need data, and sometimes we need to target areas to get them to happen, but I think of rules as sort of a separate dimension. So we'll put that on the dartboard. Trails. I had to make the acronym work. So this one was a bit of a stretch. So I want you to think about flows. Flows through systems, sequences, transactions, end-to-end, round trip, anything that barrels a path through a system, I want you to think of as a trail. So we'll put that up on the board. And lastly, a place that I like to spend a lot of time analyzing systems. I've worked with a lot of stateful systems. I think of states. States are a really interesting dimension to systems and applications, so I want to look at testing states. So if I was in some kind of transaction-based system, I might think about maybe an insurance policy being in the new state or being in the active state. Then eventually it might get into the claims state, and maybe it's the claims open state, and then eventually maybe it's the claims closed state. So if I put all of these up there, it encompasses a lot of concerns I have about testing systems and application software, and it gives me a really interesting way to use the dangerous toy in the test lab. So I could use it just like this and throw a dart and see where it lands and then have an inspiration for my next test. But I think there's an even more interesting application of this that's possible. Maybe take an all pairs approach. So don't look at that too closely. It'll make your eyes go funny. But if you get the idea of what I've done here, I've combined pieces of these dimensions, and there'll be a couple of things that are repeated, but here's the basic idea. Throw a dart. So I ended up on data and trails. Where can I go with that? One of my favorite places. Follow the popcorn trail of data. I used to be a DBA, a data flow diagram, things that I can get out of the database schema. Very interesting to me. I love to follow the popcorn trail of data. Nice test. Throw another dart. Same data, different areas. So see what the effect of the same data across the different dimensions of the application, which might be GUI, which might be middle tier, which might be back end, or it might be how does this data operate in the account management system versus the inventory system versus the payroll system versus some other part of the system. Let's throw another dart and see what we get. R and an S. We got rules and states. Check rules in various states. I like that one. And it might be something that's easy to miss. If you're following the trail of a business rule or business logic, it actually might be easy to miss verifying those rules across application states. I think it's a really interesting dimension. Let's see the last one here. We got, the double. states and states. This took me a while, but I came up with interacting state models. There's places in our systems where we've got state models that actually overlap, different things happening in different areas of the system actually affecting the same state model. We need to maintain the integrity there. So this is what I offer to you using DARTS for test coverage, and I hope you keep your dangerous toys to a minimum in your test lab. Good luck.